Good evening, and welcome back to the Dark Twilight. I'm your host, Dark Twilight, and it's Monday, which means it's Monotonous Monday. Today, I will be doing a reading of 3 short stories from the Young Folks shelf of books, the Junior Classics, Fairy Tales, and Fables. These books, 10 of them actually, were given to me by my grandmother when I was little. Just a little something to read, and I feel like maybe this is where I should start. Some family tales, to get you guys relaxed and ready for a good night's sleep. So sit back, shut off the lights, put in your earbuds, and let me read you a couple stories while you guys fall asleep. And if I don't see you guys before the end of this video, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe in the morning or after your nap, and I'll see you guys later in the week. The first story we'll be reading is The 3 Little Pigs, illustrated by Leslie Brooke. Of course, there's only one illustration in this particular book, and this is from England. Once upon a time, there was an old sow with 3 little pigs, and as she had not enough to keep them, she sent them out to seek their fortune. The first that went off met a man with a bundle of straw, and said to him, "Please, man, give me that straw to build my house." Which the man did, and the little pig built a house with it. Presently came along a wolf, and knocked at the door, and said, little pig, let me come in." To which the pig answered, "No, no, by the hair of my chinny chin chin." "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," said the wolf. So he huffed and he puffed, and he blew his house in, and ate up the little pig. The second pig met a man with a bundle of furs, and said, "Please, man, give me that furs to build a house." Which the man did, and the pig built his home. Then along came the wolf, and said, little pig, let me come in." "No, no, by the hair of my chinny chin chin." "Then I'll huff and I'll blow your house in." So he huffed and he huffed, and he puffed and he huffed, and at last he blew the house down, and he ate up the second little pig. The third little pig met a man with a load of bricks, and said, "Please, man, give me those bricks to build a home with." So the man gave him the bricks, and he built his home with them. So the wolf came, as he did to the other little pigs, and said, little pig, let me come in." "No, no, by the hair of my chinny chin chin." "Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in." Well, he huffed and he puffed, and he huffed and he puffed, and he puffed and he huffed, but he could not get the house down. When he found that he could not, with all his huffing and puffing, blow the house down, he said, little pig, I know where there is a nice field of turnips." "Where?" said the little pig. "Oh, in Mr. Smith's home field. If you will be ready tomorrow morning, I will call for you, and we will go together, and get some for dinner." "Very well," said the little pig, "I will be ready. What time do you mean to go?" "Oh, it's 6 o'clock. Well, the little pig got up at 5, and got the turnips, and was home again before 6. When the wolf came, he said, little pig, are you ready?" "Ready," said the little pig. "I've been and come back again, and got a nice potful for dinner." The wolf felt very angry at this, but thought that he would be up to the little pig somehow or other, so he said, little pig, I know where there is a nice apple tree." "Where?" said the pig. "Down at Merry Garden," replied the wolf. "If you will not have deceived me, I will come for you at 5 o'clock tomorrow, and we will go together and get some apples." Well, the little pig woke up at 4 the next morning, and bustled up, and went off for the apples, hoping to get back before the wolf came. But he had farther to go, and had to climb the tree, so that just as he was coming down from it, he saw the wolf coming, which, as you may suppose, frightened him very much. When the wolf came up, he said, little pig, what? Are you here before me? Are they nice apples?" "Yes, very," said the little pig. "I will throw you down one," and He threw it so far that while the wolf was going to pick it up, the little pig jumped down and ran home. The next day the wolf came again and said to the little pig, "Little pig, there's a fair in town this afternoon. Will you go?" "Oh yes," said the pig, "I will go. What time shall you be ready?" "At 3," said the wolf. So the little pig went off before the time, as usual, and got to the fair, and bought a butter churn, and was on his way home with it when he saw the wolf coming. Then he could not tell what to do, so he got into the churn to hide, and in doing so turned it round, and it began to roll and rolled down the hill with the pig inside it, which frightened the wolf so much that he ran home without going to the fair. He went to the little pig's house and told him how frightened he had been by the great round thing which came down the hill past him. Then the little pig said, "Ha! I frightened you, didn't I? I had been to the fair and bought a butter churn, and when I saw you, I got into it and rolled down the hill." Then the wolf was very angry indeed, and declared he would eat up the little pig, and that he would get down the chimney after him. When the little pig saw what he was about, he hung on the pot full of water and made him a blazing fire, and, just as the wolf was coming down, took off the cover of the pot, and in fell the wolf. And the little pig put on the cover again, and in an instant boiled him up, and ate him for supper, and they lived happily ever after. Not a variation I'm actually used to, but that was 3 Little Pigs. Although with the length of this video, I may actually cut it down to 2 stories today. This next one's a bit longer than the first. I hope you're still relaxed. The 3 Bears. Once upon a time, there were 3 bears, who lived together in a house of their own, in a wood. One of them was a little, small, wee bear, and one was a middle-sized bear, and the other was a great, huge bear. They had each a pot for their porridge, a little pot for the little, small, wee bear, and a middle-sized pot for the middle bear, and a great pot for the great, huge bear. And they had each a chair to sit in, a little chair for the little, small, wee bear, and a middle-sized chair for the middle, wee bear, and a great chair for the great, huge bear. And they had each a bed to sleep in, a little bed for the little, small, wee bear, and a middle-sized bed for the middle bear, and a great bed for the great, huge bear. One day, after they had made porridge for their breakfast, and poured it into their porridge pots, they walked out into the wood while the porridge was cooling, that they might not burn their mouths at the beginning too soon to eat it. And while they were walking, a little girl named Goldilocks came to the house. First she looked in at the window, and then she peeped in at the keyhole, and seeing nobody in the house, she turned the handle to the door. The door was not fastened, because the bears were good bears, who did nobody any harm, and never suspected that anybody would harm them. So Goldilocks opened the door and went in, and well pleased she was to see that she saw porridge on the table. If she had been a thoughtful little girl, she would have waited till the bears came home, and then perhaps they would have asked her to breakfast, for they were good bears, a little rough or so, as the manner of bears is, but for all the very good-natured and hospitable. But the porridge looked tempting, and she set about helping herself. So first she tasted the porridge of the great huge bear, and that was too hot for her. And then she tasted the porridge of the middle bear, and that was too cold for her. And then she went to the porridge of the little, small, wee bear, and tasted that, and that was neither too hot nor too cold, but just right, as she liked it so. Well, she ate it all up. Then Goldilocks sat down in the chair of the great huge bear, and that was far too hard for her. So she sat down in the chair of the middle bear, and that was far, far too soft. And then she sat down in the little chair for the little, small, wee bear, and that was neither too hard nor too soft, but just right. So she seated herself in it, and there she sat till the bottom of the chair came out, and down she came with a plump on the ground. Then Goldilocks went upstairs into the bedchamber in which the three bears slept, and first she lay down on the bed of the great huge bear, but that was too high at the head for her, and next she lay down at the bed of the middle bear, and that was too high at the foot for her. Then she lay down upon the bed of the little small wee bear, and that was neither too high at the head nor at the foot, but just right. So she covered herself up comfortably, and lay there till she fell fast asleep. By this time the three bears thought their porridge would be cool enough, so they came home to breakfast. Now Goldilocks had left the spoon of the great huge bear standing in the porridge. "Somebody has been at my porridge," said the great huge bear in his great rough, gruff voice. And when the middle bear looked at hers, she saw the spoon was standing in it too. "Somebody has been at my porridge," said the middle bear in her middle voice. Then the little small wee bear looked at his, and there was the spoon in the porridge pot, but the porridge was all gone. "Somebody has been at my porridge and eaten it all up," said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Upon this the three bears, seeing that someone had entered their house and eaten up the little small wee bear's breakfast, began to look about them. Now Goldilocks had not put the hard cushion straight when she rose from the chair of the great huge bear. "Somebody's been sitting at my chair," said the great huge bear in his great rough gruff voice. And Goldilocks had squatted down the soft cushion of the middle bear. "Somebody's been sitting in my chair," said the middle bear in her middle voice. "And you know what Goldilocks had done to the third chair?" said the small little wee bear in his little small voice. "Somebody has been sitting at my chair and has sat the bottom out of it." Then the three bears thought it necessary that they should make further search. So upon they went upstairs to their bedchamber. Now Goldilocks had a pillow of the great huge bear out of its place. "Somebody has been lying in my bed," said the great huge bear in his great rough gruff voice. And Goldilocks had pulled the bolster of the middle bear out of its place. "Somebody's been lying in my bed," said the middle bear in her middle voice. And when the small little wee bear came to look at his bed, there was the bolster in its place, and the pillow in its place upon the bolster, and upon the pillow was the head of Goldilocks, which was not in its place, for she had no business there. "Somebody has been lying in my bed, and here she is," said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Goldilocks had heard in her sleep the great rough gruff voice of the great huge bear, and the middle voice of the middle bear, but it was only as if she had heard someone speaking in a dream. But when she heard the little small wee voice of the little small wee bear, it was so sharp and so shrill that it awakened her at once. Up she started, and when she saw the three bears on the side of the bed, she tumbled herself out at the other, and ran to the window. Now the window was open, because the bears, like good tidy bears as they were, always opened their bedchamber window when they got up in the morning. Out Goldilocks jumped, and ran away as fast as she could run, never looking behind her. And what happened to her afterwards I cannot tell, but the three bears never saw anything more of her. So, I think, actually, I'm going to go ahead and end today's Monotonous Monday with that, Goldilocks and the three bears. If you're still awake, get some rest. You were intending to take a nap when you watched this. And if not, save it for another time. For now, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next week. You guys have a great weekend. Good night.